hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Globbies. Yeah, give you a moment to rock up, but we are in position. Let me know if you can hear me, because it'd be awkward if you couldn't. But yes, so we are live for the Season 14 Gobshite Draft League Globby Awards. Excellent. I am audible. That's good news. We'll give people a couple of minutes to show up. How you feeling, Reese? You still suffering? Shit. Yeah, it's if it's anything like it was for me, you'll be there for a little while. Huh, still negative. Weird. It's well, that is good news. Just not what you expect in the circumstances, I suppose. Have we got anyone else lurking in chat? I could just do a private stream for Reese, but that doesn't seem necessary. We can hold on a moment. Aha, fair enough. Well, hello to background Bambi. Aha, hello to foreground Bambi. Yes, well, this is, you might as well dunk yourself in at the deep end, right? This is as comprehensible as things are going to get for you. Hello, Vince. Hey, Mike. All right. Yeah, we'll do this at like a reasonable clip, I think is the idea, so that we can get to hopping over to Discord afterwards, let Whammer do the wheels to determine draft order for next season, and then we can kick off the draft in time for Whammer to go and do his clock tower streaming after this. Oh, I left the bookmarks bar, and that's exciting. You know what? Not as much as I used to, Reese. Not as much as I used to. Yeah. If I'm playing through a Nuzlocke, I'll need to refer to it like reasonably frequently. But not today, I ain't. Okay. Let's eggs are fine, mate. Don't know why I need to ask about eggs. Eggs are fine. Right, I make it 7 o'clock, which means it's time to do the show. So yes, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for remembering things about the season, which we're now about to honour together. Most of the organisation of this is set up from previous seasons, so thank you to the likes of Vince and Reese and Make for setting up the template for all this. But I'll run you through the results. So season 14, it was a fun one, I think. First post-reset season, we're introduced some new stuff. Real boys were involved for the first time. It had a new face. Was it just one new face this season? I can't remember. It was a good season, is what I'm saying. So let's talk about some of it now. So, as is tradition, here is a selection of images with some relation to the Gobshite League. Yes, 2 new faces. Thank you, Reese. I'm not sure. I won't spoil which one I forgot, but it's true. There were 2. So as you can see, a collection of images that corresponds to some of the teams in the league. So that's nice. And of course, our winner, Barcelona, second-time winners. Well done to Stefan. It was a hard-fought season. Again, there were 7 or 8 teams who were in with a shout of taking home the trophy to within quite close to the end of the season. But yeah, it's Stefan coming out on top. Well done, sir. We move on to season 15A any moment now. So we'll see if you can do a whammer and defend your title. So I did forget to take a photo of the table before it was time to do the globbies, and they got erased from the website. But here is the order in which everyone finished, which I'm sure you can agree is the same thing. So yeah, some disappointment for the likes of Halfman, who were inexplicably rated very highly by the game. Disappointment for the Pocket Dogs, as usual. But yeah, some exciting stuff. Peel getting third in his first season. Let's see, Whammer not winning. That was nice. Yeah, lots to be excited about here. So let's get into some awards. And team of the season, as is often the case, not a surprise here. This one's usually a bit of a shoe-in, and it is obviously Barcelona who take home the title for being the best team. But we have shouts as well for the Pythons and for the M&Ms. Both had very strong seasons and were in with a shout with winning the whole thing, and the cup. And then one vote for the Max and Black, who finished second. So it's a thing that is technically legal for you to submit in this survey. But well done to Barcelona. DRF of the season, a lot more split, but only in the way that suited Stefan. But almost everyone got involved here. So it's probably a sign of how competitive the season was and what a good draft people had. Stefan gets the points for assembling the successful team, but we have shouts for Reese for honestly some reason, not sure why. Peel for doing well, Whammer for doing well, Francisco did well. Nicky set out to get Pep killed and succeeded, which as far as I'm concerned makes him the obvious candidate for DRF of the season, but nobody else agreed. Jake got a vote, Calvin got a vote, Hadley got a vote. DOF, Jamie, stands for Director of Football. That's us. We are the DOFs. So there you are. So as I say, Stefan, pretty much, as it's tradition that the winner of the season takes home the DOF of the season title, and it's fair and deserved once again. But well done to everyone who got nominated here. It is, of course, an honour just to be nominated. Right, we have some player awards, and list manager is first. Is manager first? Manager is first. Here we go. It remains a clean sweep so far for Barcelona. Carlo Ancelotti, eyebrows, has done it again. Somewhat inconsistent historically in gobshite terms, but really delivered the goods this year. Jurgen Klopp did get some votes for picking up an absolute turd of a team and taking it into the top half and not getting immolated for his troubles. Very well done for him. Zinedine Zidane got points for shepherding an excellent debut season for Peel. Luis Enrique received a vote, and also several votes for Pep Guardiola. I think they were ironic votes because it cannot be stressed enough that Pep Guardiola is dead, although it is worth congratulating the man for following through on his dedication to the false nine, even with one of the game's premium big lumps, the most truthful nines you could ever have, Lukaku up front. But yeah, RSVP to Pep Guardiola. I'd say you'll be missed, but I think we're all very pleased. Player of the season. Speaking of truthful nines, Romelu Lukaku had a weird season. Started comfortably best player of the season, you'd say. Just carting goals in left and right, despite being fielded as a false nine. Tailed off just enough to get Pep sacked, and then had a field day against all the meme teams in the bottom half. Lukaku takes home the prize for player of the season. But I think everyone in here had a reasonable shout, and a lot of them can feel a little hard done by in terms of like overall consistency, perhaps. Erling Haaland scored almost as many goals as Lukaku, despite being in the top half of the split rather than the bottom. Rafael Lau was a massive part of Much and More, doing really, really well in their first season. A bit of a dark horse for the title here. But yeah, it was an excellent season, well deserved. Top 10 got some well-deserved votes for being a key part of the Barcelona title win. So well done to him. And points as well for Hakan Çalhanoğlu and Ansu Fati. Both, big parts of good seasons for Manchester and Kylian Menes. You're quite right, Vince. Messi did not appear in this poll for player of the season. I guess not being in the top 6 players of the year counts as being dreadful. So there you are. Alright, let's go to individual places in the team of the season. We'll start with the goalkeepers. This was kind of split. We had 3 main candidates for this, and people had trouble deciding between them. Thibaut Courtois got a vote for some reason, but the main 3, Cavas had a reliable year in goal for the Pythons. Can't always be guaranteed to be reliable, Cavas, but when he is, he's fantastic, and he had a really good year this year. Hugo Lloris, back out of obscurity to be the starting goalkeeper for Barcelona and took them to the title. That's two title wins now at least, I think, for Lloris as first choice goalkeeper. So yeah, great stuff for him. But it's David De Gea who comes out on top, fast becoming one of the iconic Ducks. And yeah, as you say, Reese, kind of punched above his weight in terms of the quality of the Ducks team this season. Some great stuff from De Gea, lots of penalty saves. Yeah, eye-catching stuff, and he's in at number 1 in Team of the Year. Right back, this was a bit of a landslide with the majority of the votes. Achraf Hakimi of Kumang gets the spot. I don't think there are any obvious standout candidates here this season, and so Hakimi, just being generally pretty good, does the job. The Manchester right back got some votes. I'm not even going to try that one. I'm not confident enough. Denzel Dumfries, there's no reason to vote for him, but he got a vote nonetheless for the Weasels. And Reece James was the closest competition to Hakimi over there at the Manx. Had a good season, but it's the Pythons who get the name on the team sheet here. Over to centre back. Lots of choices here, and it was a competitive race. I don't know that anyone really made their case super clearly here, but it's going to be Alessandro Bastoni of Manchester United and Matthijs de Ligt of Much and More who take the spots here. Very strong stuff. Some weird stuff from the Sirs centre backs this season, despite Sirs being kind of dreadful and also playing a lot against mean teams. They were kind of great stuff from the centre backs. Weirdly good performances. Virgil van Dijk from the Menace got pretty close, as did Stefan de Vrij. But it's Bastoni and De Ligt who are in, and it's hard to argue with that, but I did it anyway. So there you are. Left back. This was pretty competitive. Alphonso Davies of the Pigs got a few votes. Jose Gaya got a couple of votes. Timothy Castagna got a vote because he plays for Surreal Legends, and the Surreal Legends DOF voted in this poll. Shout out to Hadley actually for picking 7 players out of a possible 11 for a team of the season. I've since come to realise this is because 6 of those were mandatory in order to submit anything for the form, but the 7th was not mandatory, and that was Timothy Castagna. So well done. Rafael Guerrero of Much and More also got a vote here. But Ice, Andrew Robertson, the Scottish sniper himself, really, really delivered for the Pythons. And so it's both of their fullbacks who were in the team of the season. Well done to them. Let's go now into the midfield. Central midfield gets us another Manchester player. Make was getting ready to kick off about people not voting for hackers. but Hakan Calhanoglu is in the team. People were pretty unsure where to go here. I think the only obvious choice here was Nicolo Barella, who was a really important part of the Barcelona title-winning team, as he was last time they won the title. He was a really, really major part of that team. So he's taken home the most votes here, but there were successful candidacies for the likes of Luka Modric and Christian Eriksen, both impressed this season. Mason Mount got some votes. Martin Odegaard got some votes. I mean, hard to differentiate between those Menace midfielders because that midfield is stacked. But they nonetheless, Odegaard made the list and did all right. His Normalness, Big Norm on Yango, picked up some votes. The real boy Kulusevski, just happy to be here really, and Toni Kroos also appearing in this poll. Let's move on to the flanks then. On the left, we talked about him player of this season, and it would have been weird if somebody else had beaten him here as a result of that. Rafael Lau had a really, really influential season for Peel. Stepped up in a way we've not seen before, and takes home this one here. Yannick Carrasco of Barcelona might still feel a little hard done by. One of the better performers in a Barcelona team that, while winning the league by 6 points or what have you, still no massive standouts for the Barcelona team in terms of ratings, and Carrasco was right up there for a while of their candidates, but overlooked here instead in favour of the more flashy Rafael Lau. I don't think anyone is really going to argue too much about that. Vinicius was okay at times for Sirs. Kylian Mbappe, did some Mbappe things here and there, but wasn't really a consistent force. Ansu Fati did have a massive year for the Menace. The real boy stepped up in a big way, and is going to be a very valuable player for Francisco in seasons to come. But it's Rafael Lau who becomes the second much more player on our team sheet here. Let's go to the right. On the right, it's a much more double on the flanks. Serge Gnabry was not quite the all-conquering presence of Rafael Lau, but popped up with some really important goals and assists for much more. One of his most consistent seasons, Gnabry, who's been a little bit iffy in Gobshite's past. But look at that second place. Crawford Jansen, our very own, the kid who straddles reality and fiction. Fantastic work. One of his first properly good season as a regular starter for a serious team. Great stuff. Well done to the Menace's winger there. Sadio Mane for the BBC. I think got some votes here just for being Sadio Mane. He did fine. It was a decent Mane season. And Take Me to Cheese also receiving a point. I think just happy to be on the slide here. Finally, another pretty competitive position, the forwards. There were several candidates who had a case here, but ultimately, I think the fact that the player of the season votes played out as they did, nobody's really surprised to see Haaland and Lukaku leading the line for our team of the season here. Lukaku with those incredible bursts of ridiculous form, killing Pep and still being top scorer is impressive work. Haaland just continues to be excellent in the Gobshite League, was the best Pigs player by some distance, you'd have to say. Top 10 could feel a little bit aggrieved to be missing out. One of his best seasons in Gobshite history. Harry Kane and Big, they were fine, but I don't think anyone's really expecting them to get involved here. But yes, as you say, Reese, the story here is a vote for Hulk in Team of the Season. Deserved? Yeah, but you can at least understand where the argument is beginning to come from. Lionel Messi does get a vote for Team of the Season, so put that in your pipe and smoke it to a certain individual. Lucky Radebe, I think just happy to be here. But it's Lukaku and Haaland who take the spots, and nobody's really arguing about it. which gives you our full team of the year here. Only one representative from the title winners, and that's Nicola Barella. 3 for Much and More, 2 for Maychester, 2 for the Pythons, 1 pig, 1 duck, and 1 from FC Sirs. Well done to everyone who's made the team. Right, let's get into some further awards. Yeah, good enough to win the league? Yes, I think you'd have to say so. Maybe a little defensively fragile in the middle, but that's a good team. And you'd sort of hope it would be, really. Right, on to the weirder awards. Banter Goalkeeper. Of course, in loving memory of Rui Patricio. We had votes for Look at the Jet Ski for being a 4th round pick and not starting games. A vote for Cavas, I guess, for just being Cavas. That's just a legacy vote, I think. Emi Martinez appears on this list. David De Gea was, a figure of, major impact for the Ducks. Evening, mate. Glad you could make it. Just in time to see the first vote for Joe Gomes. Well done to him. I imagine that's the end of his evening. But we have a tie first place here. Wojciech Szczesny for there were reasons. I think the submissions to the form said something to the effect of, there were reasons for this. I'm sure they meant something, and that's about as much as I've got as well. But Kepa there was a moment at which Wano was trying to sell Kepa as the Pythons Player of the Year, despite not playing any league games. Because yes, he was the starting goalkeeper in the cup for the Pythons, who did not concede a goal in that competition. So it's quite the claim to fame for young Kepa. And for that reason, I'm going to give it to him for Banter Goalkeeper breaking the tie, because I can't remember why Szczesny was nominated. So let's go on to Banter Defender in loving memory of Giorgio Chiellini. There could only really be one choice here. Giorgio Chiellini, the real boy himself, Johannes, with an excellent deployment of memeing by taking the raw potential of the real boy format and just destroying it. Chiellini's dropped several points of CA already going into the next season. And will continue to get worse until he retires. Bravo for then going on and drafting several excellent real boy candidates after that. It was great stuff. We look forward to seeing this young lad's development with interest. But votes as well went to Costas Simicas, Teo Hernandez, Pepe, and Joe Gomes. So well done to all of those. You're quite right, Mohammed. We might yet be ready for the Chiellini Renaissance. There's every chance. But I will be very excited to see it. It's just keeping away from stubbed toes. Right, Banter Central Midfielder. No, this is not a vote for the former Arsenal striker Eduardo. This is just a cropping incident. Speaking of real boys, Eduardo Camavinga, an incredibly promising young midfielder. A lot of managers would have had their eye on this particular talent. Rolled, was it 199 PA for Eduardo Camavinga? Truly incredible stuff. What a real boy keep. Except for the fact that he was picked in round 5 and therefore was never ever going to be keepable for more than one season. It was a clear choice for banter midfielder. Well done, John, for discovering the hard way how things were going to work. What could have been? Other votes here include those for Jacob Jones, one of the original kids. Well, not the original kids, but one of the oldest kids we've got. Don't know why, but he's here. A vote for the Chilean Menace's stacked midfield. Source of a lot of jokes this season. A vote for Joe Gomes. Good stuff for Gomes. Very promising stuff. Declan Rice. Was there a reason? Who can say? And a vote for Casemiro, who I've forgotten where he's even playing for this season, but it wasn't a Manchester, and that might have been enough, quite frankly. But Eduardo Camavinga, a worthy winner here of banter midfielder. Well done. Let's go a little bit further forward up the pitch to banter winger / attacking midfielder. A few decent candidates here. A vote for Joe Gomes. One vote for Jamal Musiala for being explicitly not real boyed by the Pigs and having a really good patch of development. A vote for Tassos Bakasetas from Tiki Taka Toa for being one of the only Tiki Taka Toa players to actually do a bosh at any point in the season. Jeffrey Weir for being the best player in the world and not. And a vote for Lionel Messi for providing content as usual, doing his level best to save the Elves, which apparently, as we've seen from the Do It Better streams, was a completely impossible task. But the winner here is Ryan Cherky, the Elves' real boy, who can't run, can barely walk, can't tackle, can't cross. He can only really touch the ball elegantly, but still, despite very little game time, did develop reasonably well compared to the other real boys. Did I miss off the vote for Joe Gomes? I would never miss off the vote for Joe Gomes. Joe Gomes has got a vote. But yeah, it's Ryan Cherky who takes the prize. I feel like this is maybe not a vote being made for Cherky and maybe one being made at Vince, but I'm fine with that. Let's move ahead for Banter Striker. And, well, for those of you who tuned into a particular stream this year or were shown the clip from the stream, I think there was only one choice, really. Big Duvan Zapata with one of the greatest misses in Gobshite history. The occasion when the big man finally decided to shake his reputation as being the man who famously does not dribble. Finally dribbled around the keeper to an open goal and absolutely hoofed it well over the goal into space. It was a great moment for a striker who cannot decide whether he is actually going to ever be great in Gobshite. Votes for Messi and Karim Benzema. One of them was split between the two, which is not how this works, but I had to count it somewhere, so I counted it this way. A vote for Hulk for actually being relevant in a Gobshite season. We had a very strange nil-ball strike force of Luis Suarez, Jamie Vardy and Hulk might have been the best one. Romelu Lukaku, for reasons being explained in chat by John. Not quite how that was meant to go. And Joe Gomes, excellent performance all evening from Joe Gomes, and you've got to hand it to him for making it into the Banter Striker contention as well. Very well done. But, the miss. The miss takes it. Well done to Duvan Zapata for Banter Striker of the season. Who's next? Banter Manager? Banter Manager. The ongoing saga of Calvin being distressed that Klopp wasn't being sacked, despite vastly overperforming with his dreadful team, was a source of much mirth this season, and it's that seals the Banter Manager victory for Jurgen Klopp, who made it through the season alive. Fair play. We've got a three-way tie for second place. Joey Barton got 2 votes for being just a terrible choice for the Surreal Legends team. Not a legend for any club, and playing a formation that couldn't have suited the mishmash draft team any less, and paid for it with his life. RSVP to Joey Barton. Speaking of dead people, Pep Guardiola has been awarded some votes for his cessation of existence. It looked for a while like he was going to overcome the poor fit to his system, but he couldn't quite manage it. Sirs didn't make the split, and your boy Pep is now unavailable for 3 seasons. For the first time in Gobshite history, Pep Guardiola will not be in play next season. But the third in the three-way tie, Rhys Kennedy himself, who is now canonically dead in the Gobshite League, had approximately 10 minutes of in-game time in charge of Big Stop Big Cox before being unceremoniously replaced by the actual choice of manager. So yeah, Reese is dead. It'll be streaming as a ghoul for us in upcoming seasons. So excited to see how that changes the vibe. Vote for Jose Mourinho for just being shit, basically, and vote for Joe Gomes for another standout year of being Joe Gomes. Well done to him. But it's Jurgen Klopp who takes Banter Manager. Banter Team. This was, in my eyes, a controversial choice. We've got a couple of votes for Joe Gomes, for the BBC for some reason, for Much and More, for I guess just kind of being interesting. The Pocket Dogs, I mean, yeah, there's an element of tradition there. FC Sirs, I would argue underserved here for their contribution to the purposeful death of Guardiola. One vote here for whoever has the most votes, so consider that one further for our winners. Surreal Legends in it too. I reckon this was a slightly disappointing use of the gimmick, like a great concept for a team, composed entirely of players who have spent a long time playing for other teams in the league. But it wasn't quite delivered with the organisation that I think could have made for a really incredible season. But points for effort for Surreal Legends for sure. Tiki Taka Toa, though, with the quite exceptional gimmick of all players boshing it around. Now, while we're arguing in the chat that Tiki Taka Toa was a strong concept executed well, I would say that it was a strong concept, like delivered in theory, but in practice, vastly disappointing. I think the final bosh count was 4, which is just sad. I think we all wanted more out of Tiki Taka Toa, but the boshes they did get were fantastic. They had a weird diversion into being really good at headers instead, which was a fun twist on the formula that nobody saw coming. Tiki Taka Toa, your banter team of the season. Well done to Mike for drafting it. It was a great gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, there was only one winner here. The Year of the Dink was in full force this season. So many goals scored by cheeky dinks over the keeper. We have one vote here, which is a little bit hard to tell because of the colouring of the wheel, but that is the Year of the Dink denied, because almost as plentiful as the dink itself was the attempted dink not quite going through. I'm glad to see that represented here as well. Pass to Mbappe and he will score was a common refrain early on. That kind of expired a little bit as this vote noted in its longevity. But yeah, that one had a shot at gimmick if it had stayed true to itself, but that sort of never really came into full fruition. Barcelona winning, I think that says without Pep, if I remember correctly. So well done there. Real Boys, perhaps underserved as gimmick of the season. A brave new format to just really make keeps as incomprehensible as possible. That had a big impact on how we drafted and played this season. But yeah, Real Boys just got one vote. Messi is terrible as ever. Got a vote. I'm sure you will find it difficult to understand where that might have come from. Adam thinking his team is good ever. Gets, I would say, a worthy vote in here. Just every season Adam is convinced that he's made a great team, and it never happens, never will happen. But thanks for playing. Surprise of the season. Lots of options here that nobody quite coalesced on the right choice. How Real Boys actually worked got a point. I think you can suspect where that might have come from. Barcelona winning without Pep once again makes an appearance. Rafael Lau, just for being actually quite surprisingly good. Fair play. Heads not Bosches. The subversion of the Tiki Taka Toa gimmick into an entirely different one was quite the surprise. Half-Mash shitting the bed. Apparently that was a surprise. I wouldn't have called it, but supposedly they were meant to be really good, and they weren't. BBC making the split. I think that's what that says. Romelu Lukaku for being ridiculous and being dreadful in equal measure. Nicky not making the split with Guardiola. I mean, yeah. And as you can see, our winner, RSVP Pep Guardiola, dunked into the volcano, never to return until season 18. That's how numbers work. Yeah, calculator Pep. What have we got else left to come? Disappointment of the season. Yeah, this is a rare case where a team wins both banter team of the season and disappointment of the season. But yeah, Tiki Taka Toa, a team built entirely to Bosch, who Boshed 4 times in total. Not what you want really from the point of that. There was a lot of promise there that never delivered. And so the best of both worlds goes to Tiki Taka Toa for just kind of having a bit of everything this season. But lots of other choices here. Weasel's got a point. The Pocket Dogs got a point for just being the Pocket Dogs. Eduardo Camavinga once again. Fuck off got a point. It's impossible to say where that might have come from. Joe Gomes, you've got to say that the lads. Like, if he wants to be nominated for like 10 awards next season, he's going to have to pick it up. Like, this just isn't enough. Lionel Messi got a vote from another completely incomprehensible source. Kane's penalty misses possibly might clue you into a certain overinvested person in much more penalties. Half Man United just being a bit shit. And Millwall losing the cup final, which may in fact have been the correct answer after all. But yes, I love that Whammer was the only person to vote for that. But everyone in that final was cheering on Millwall, including Whammer, and it was a bit of a damp squib in the end. But one day Millwall will win a trophy, and it will be the best day in Gobshite history. What else have we got for you? Rivalry of the season. No clear answer here, but generally speaking, the title race. This was a really close race, and people being in first really didn't like winning. So there was a lot of back and forth. And it was a really enjoyable season right up until the very end. But we have other candidates here. Pythons versus Goals was a weird one for a long time. Pep versus Klopp in the sort of the disappointment stakes was an interesting inversion of their usual dynamic. Barcelona Manchester, less a rivalry, more a sisterhood. There's a heartwarming level of cooperation between the two sister teams there. Sirs versus the top half. Things could go very differently. And yeah, Pep would probably have been alive if that hadn't ended like it did. So it was a fun will they won't they sort of situation. Manchester versus the Manx. I couldn't tell anything about the rivalry, but apparently it existed for somebody. Lucescu versus Points. The Ducks really did sort of collapse entirely in the post-Loire world. And of course Calvin versus Jurgen Klopp. An enmity that lasted the entire season and will now last into next season because he's been kept on as the Dogs manager. But the title race takes rivalry of the season. So just time for some special mentions for season 14. The team had some sisterhood repping each other in the special mentions. You love to see it. One vote for not applicable. Thanks for your contribution. The PLFC Regens, including, you'll see further down below, Physio O'Sullivan, the best regen name we've had. I can't wait for somebody to draft that kid next season. But of course, you have to shout out to the likes of Mustafa Castle as well. We've got a whole boatload of new kids coming in, and a lot of them are fantastically named. So Physio O'Sullivan gets a great shot here. Some mystery person notes that the Pythons are the only team in Gobshite history to win either a league or a cup in 3 consecutive seasons. Calvin can't win without Klopp, apparently. I would argue that Calvin can't win with anyone because he's never done it. One note here that says, I'm Adam and I eat snot. So there is that as well. That almost wraps things up from over here. All that's left for me to do is to say that I'll see you next season, where we'll be playing in Mongolia. Mongolia is our destination for season 15. Things are going to get pretty I tried to summon any knowledge about what things like in Mongolia, and I don't have any. So we'll find out, I suppose. But that's where we're heading for the next season. That's all from me. Thanks very much for tuning in. It'll be now time in a moment to hop over to Discord, where Whammer will fire up the wheels and we'll deal out the draft order for next season. So get involved on there, and we'll start the draft immediately afterwards. Thank you for watching, and happy drafting. Take care, pals. Be good to each other. He said, trying to work out where he put the bloody button for the stream.